Welcome adventurer to Kraken Cove, a lair guarded by Liev McCracken located southwest of the Piscatoris Fishing Colony. Located here, you'll find a boss who is both powerful and profitable. You've come a long way to get a slayer task such as this. With all that effort, you're bound to want to know more about this creature. Well fam, I'm your host Shankamuffin, and welcome to my in-depth Kraken Boss guide. Ah yes, another guide by yours truly. As we all know, this is the section for table of contents. The timestamps are up on the screen as well as in the description, so you can skip to the section that you wish to watch. Alright, they've been up for long enough. Let's get into this. The Kraken is a boss who is located in Kraken Cove. This monster is only a bigger version of the cave kraken that are found within the cave. The kraken is only available to be slain while on a slayer task, so Chandler, Neve, Konar, and Duradel assign this specific task. It is a level 291 monster who uses magic as its primary attacks. In addition, the Kraken has a max hit of 28, has 255 hit points, and hits through your protect from mage spell, rendering the prayer useless. Due to the popularity of this boss, players can pay a fee of 25,000 coins in order to have their own instance. And upon entry of the lair, you'll notice that there are 5 whirlpools. The biggest whirlpool is where the Kraken will spawn, while the other 4 small ones are where the enormous tentacles will spawn. More on the mechanics of this fight later though. There are 3 primary reasons as to why someone would want to slay this monster. The first being its decent money and slayer experience. The second being players can earn magic seeds, alchebals, and sought after runes. And the third being of how the Kraken can drop the Kraken Tentacle, which upgrades your Abyssal Whip, and the Trident of the Seas, which is one of the best mage weapons. And last but not least, there is a pet drop, which is just a miniature version of itself. This is a nice boss to AFK while earning potential money and earning decent amount of slayer experience. With the general overview completed, let's talk about the requirements. There are 3 requirements in order for you to face the Kraken. The first requirement is to have 87 Slayer. Without this Slayer requirement, you won't be able to fight it. The second requirement is that you need to have a Slayer assignment of Cave Krakens. With this, you'll have access to Kraken Cove. The last requirement is to have 50 Magic. Without this, you won't be able to get this task due to the fact that this task requires Magic. So if you were to use Magic Dart for whatever reason to kill this creature, you can. Other than that, there are no other requirements. And with that, we move into the recommendations. Let's go over the recommendations now. First and foremost, level 75 plus magic is a huge benefit. This allows you to use the Trident of the Seas, Trident of the Swamp, as well as the optional Sanguinesti Staff. Sanguinesti Staff is legendary here due to the ability of how it can heal you. Next is having 75 plus defense, since you'll have access to Barrow's equipment and Armadillo if you choose. Next is to have 70 plus hit points. Obviously the higher the better, but 70 is a good baseline. The Kraken itself doesn't hit too often. The tentacles are the main DPSers here at this boss. Finally, you should have 45 prayer. This allows you to use Mystic Might, which increases your magical attack and defense by 15%. If you have money and are willing to fork over the cash, then 77 plus prayer is great because you have access to augury, as well as you can use the spirit shields. The second recommendation is to have access to fairy rings. This allows you to teleport right near the entrance of Kraken Cove. The next recommendation is to have an ornate rejuvenation pool. This allows you to restore every stat once you are done with your trip, once you teleport to your POH. And speaking of your POH, having a Mounted Glory is great, since you can teleport to Edgeville, which gives access to quick banking. In addition to this, if you have the fairy ring located inside your POH, it's great because you can easily get back to Piscatoris. Lastly, an imbued Slayer helm is a must because of the damage and accuracy bonus while using magic. Now that we have the recommendations completed, let's move on to the gear that you should be wearing. Considering that the Kraken is a magic attack based monster, there are 2 potential loadouts you can go with. And if you don't have all the equipment for one loadout, roll with a hybrid setup. That's what I do. It might take a little bit longer for your task, but who cares? You don't really need to pay attention for the most part with this fight. Let's begin with the tank loadout. For your helm slot, roll with a Slayer helm imbued or a Black Mask imbued. For your necklace, go with an Occult, Fury, or Glory. For your cape slot, go with one of the imbued God capes, Infernal cape, Fire cape, God cape, or Trimmed skill cape. For your torso slot, go with an Armadillo chest plate, Carol's leather top, Black d'hide top, Elite void top, or Void top. For your leg slot, go with Armadillo chain skirt, Carol's leather skirt, Elite void robe, Void knight robe, or Black d'hide chaps. Your weapon of choice is either a Sanguine SC staff, Trident of the Swamp, Trident of the Seas, Slayer staff E, or Iban staff imbued. For your shield slot, go with an Elysian Spirit Shield, Spectral Spirit Shield, Dragonfire Ward, Twisted Buckler, or Odium Ward. If you're going to be using a blowpipe here, go with Radha's Blessing 4 or any God Blessing for your ammo slot. If you're going to use the magic bow and the arrows method, go with bronze, iron, or steel arrows. For your glove slot, go with a Tormented Bracelet, Barrows Gloves, Dragon Gloves, Infinity Gloves, Rune Gloves, or a Combat Bracelet. For your boots, go with Eternal Boots, Infinity Boots, Wizard Boots, or Mythic Boots. Second to last is your ring slot, which is a Ring of Suffering imbued or Seer's Ring imbued. The last section for your loadout is your spec weapon. It's completely optional. As stated before, the blowpipe is great to use here because the blowpipe special will heal off of the tentacles. And other than that, that's it guys. Let's move on to the DPS loadout. I hear you. You want to smash this boss with pure raw power. Well, this DPS loadout will certainly do that for you, and I hope you have a bill lying around. For your helm slot, roll a Slayer helm imbued or Black Mask imbued. For your necklace slot, go with an Occult, Fury, or Glory. For your cape slot, go with imbued Magic Cape, Fire Cape, or God Cape. For your torso, go with an Ancestral Robe Top or Aram's Top. For your leg slot, go with Ancestral Robe Bottom or Aram's Bottoms. Your weapon of choice is the Sanguine SC Staff, Trident of the Swamp, Trident of the Seas, or Iban Staff imbued. Your shield is either an Elysian Spirit Shield, Arcane Spirit Shield, Mage's Book, Ancient Wyvern Shield, Malediction Ward, Book of Balance, Dragonfire Ward, or Twisted Buckler. If you're going to use blowpipe, go with Radha's Blessing 4 or any of the God Blessings for your ammo slot. If you're going to use the magic bow and arrows method, go with bronze, iron, or steel arrows. For your gloves, go with a Tormented Bracelet, Regen Bracelet, Barrows Gloves, or Dragon Gloves. For your boots, go with Eternal Boots, Infinity Boots, Wizard Boots, or Mystic Boots. Second to last is your ring slot, which is a Ring of Suffering imbued or Seer's Ring imbued. The last section for this loadout is your spec weapon. It's completely optional, but a blowpipe is great to use here because you can heal off of the tentacles. Alright guys, gear loadout is all set. Let's move into the inventory. Inventory setup will be the same for all loadouts. For my inventory, since I don't bring a blowpipe, although thinking about it I should from now on, I bring a magic short bow and steel arrows to aggro the tentacles. 25k gold in order to have my own private instance, 2 magic potions, but you can sub these out for an imbued heart if you have this, 4 prayer potions since I keep my prayer always on, I do not flick, house teleport tabs, and the rest of my inventory is food, which is sharks. Now, there are some optional items that you could bring if you wish to do so. If you do not have access to a fairy ring, bring a Piscatoris teleport scroll, a blowpipe for specking the tentacles for additional HP, a super defense potion for assistance with tanking, an empty rune pouch to store runes in, and finally a Drayman staff if you have not completed the Elite Lumbridge diary. Now that inventory is out of the way, let's learn on how to get to the Kraken Cove. The easiest way to get to Kraken Cove is via fairy ring. Use the code AKQ. Once you've teleported, you'll run west and you'll eventually come across the entrance. The second way to get to the cove is through the Piscatoris teleport scroll. Once you teleport, run west for a little bit and then begin your journey to run southwest. Eventually you'll come across the entrance. The last way to get to the cove is the longest and least efficient. You'll have to run all the way from the Tree Gnome stronghold. This requires you to leave the entranceway, run past Eagle's Peak, and run northwest until you come across the cove entrance. By far the best way is to use Fairy Ring. Once inside the cave, you run north and eventually you'll come across the entrance for the Kraken, and you'll right click on it either for pay for the instance or just enter it. Now that you know how to get there, let's learn the boss mechanics. If you brought along 25,000 coins, create an instance for your boss fights. Keep in mind, anything that is dropped on death or left behind once you leave will not be able to be recovered, so keep that in mind. Once you enter, you'll notice 5 whirlpools. Once you get to the little bridge that's in this little cove area, you're going to drink your magic potion or use your imbued heart. Activate Mystic Might or Augury and prepare for combat. You'll equip your blowpipe or ranged weapon and attack the 4 outer whirlpools. The order in which you attack them does not matter. Once all 4 outside whirlpools have transformed into the tentacles, equip your magic weapon and shield slot and focus your attention on the center whirlpool by attacking it. The Kraken will spawn and you'll attack it with magic. You need to keep an eye on your health and prayer. Once the Kraken has been slain, the tentacles will return to the water and your drop will be on the ground. That's it guys, the fight is over. All you have to do is just watch out for that occasional big hit from the actual Kraken, but you'll mostly get damaged by the little tentacles. So just keep an eye on your health. Once you're all done with your first kill, you repeat all these steps for all the future kills. You sit back, you relax, you watch some videos, I recommend mine, and you'll have some great times at this boss with some exceptional drops here and there. Anyways guys, that's the end of this video. If you liked it, feel free to hit that like button, as well as comment what you enjoyed about it in the comment section below. Also, just a self-promotion, I do have a Discord server, the link is down in the description below. If you want to talk with me directly as well as talk with like-minded individuals, feel free to join. That's the easiest way to come in contact with me. Anyways guys, my name's Shankamuffin, I'm signing out. Please enjoy this outro.